This forum on. I want to thank the Sheraton Hotels in Kilya for this really good Ono cookie and Coke. And I want to just thank all the Waikiki community. You know, I'm here tonight for one simple reason. I love Waikiki. And Waikiki to me are the people that live here. You know, we hear people all over the place say that Waikiki is not for locals, that Waikiki is infested with tourists, that somehow people who are residents of this beautiful island don't deserve to be here. Yet many of you in this audience live in Waikiki, and you full well know that this is a real neighborhood where you know each other. You have your unique issues, really special, some really good issues, and you live in an incredibly beautiful place. I come here all the time. I come here because they have fundraisers here and dinners and all those things at these, like this hotel, the Hilton. But I try to make it here at least once a week on Sunday to go surfing at Pops or stand up paddleboarding at Pops. I like to run, jog through this place, usually coming from the Diamond Head side. And from time to time, we go and have a picnic at Kapilani Park on the beach side and watch the sunset after we go to Rainbows and get our dinner and then sit there and watch the sunset and put our feet in the sand and it's still nice and warm. That's what Waikiki is about. I would never put Waikiki down. I would never think that somehow no one lives here but tourists. And I think it needs to be loved. It needs to be embraced. And it needs to be even made better than what it is. But things are pretty darn good here as it is. But here are the things I would focus on. And some of them I started to do when I was at the city as the mayor and managing director. I had a total of 22 months at the city. It was the best job I ever had in my life. You know, at the age of 50, I decided I wanted more meaning in my life than just serving as a lawyer, doing banking and finance law, which I did for 30 years. And I ran for the State House. And I loved that job. When I had a chance to go to the city, I loved it more. Because every day, I could make differences in people's lives in very close and personal ways. You guys know these ways. It's dealing with your sewage. It's dealing with your garbage. It's dealing with making sure water comes on. Making sure that potholes are filled, bus stops are moved or enhanced. Grass is cut in parks. When that doesn't happen, you guys get pissed pretty fast. So if I can do a better job, you guys are happier, I feel like I made a difference in each one of your lives. I could go home at the end of the day, pull the covers up under my chin and say, I have to make a difference. That's what public service is about for me. And it is about the legacy projects also. It is about building our sewer infrastructure so we have the capacity for a long time to come. We're about hitting capacity right now in Waikiki. The second digester issue is not resolved. All the way from Kuli'o'o in the Kaka'ako is going to start feeling the pain. It's not going to be pretty. So I'm passionate about rebuilding our sewer infrastructure all along the urban core. I'm passionate about doing the same with our water system. And yes, I'm passionate about rail, and I know many of you guys here are probably anti-rail, and I can understand why. And I accept the fact that you may disagree. But for me, again, it's another infrastructure system, this one transportation, to move people from the west side, where 60% of the entire population is going to live by 2030, efficiently, quickly, with a lot of excess capacity, into the urban core to work, to go to the doctor, and to play, including coming into places like Waikiki. I don't support rail in Waikiki. I'm not going to build an elevated system here if I'm mayor, but I would work closely with the Waikiki community, the neighborhood board, the hotel owners and managers to figure out what kind of transportation system would work best, that would have a sense of place for this community. For me, it's some kind of circulator bus system, kind of a shuttle, not as big, running every 3 to 5 minutes out of Ala Moana, where this system would end, coming into town for now, getting people into here. Not only tourists, but all the people who work here, who ride the bus every day and spend an hour and a half each way so they can work here and make their money to afford to live here. So that's why I do support rail. We need to do something different. More roads, more highways, more cars, and more buses has not solved the problem. We've been doing that since statehood. And quite frankly, I don't want to pave more of our island with more roads or more highways. The footprint for rail is smaller. It's not perfect. It's 26 feet wide and 30 feet in the air. I wish it could be underground. I'd love it to be underground. For $20 billion, we can have it underground. It reminds me when I first got married, we wanted to buy a house. I wanted a big old house. I couldn't afford the big old house. I had to buy a smaller house, which we love. The point is, it's not perfect, but it's good. And it's the first step. And I think we can build it better. Planting more trees, moving columns, making the spans narrower, bringing the stations down to ground. Yes, the rail is above because you need to go fast. Stations are great. So I'm passionate about infrastructure things because I want to see our urban core be a little bit more like Waikiki in terms of using our urban zone lands in a more dense way. But with beautiful parks like Kapiolani or Ala Moana, where you're just very short distances from getting into the water and going surfing or lying in the sun or swimming. And we can do that. We can do that. And Waikiki serves a good example of that kind of urban lifestyle. And it's good, and you know that. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You chose to live in Waikiki because of its vibrancy, because of all the things that it has to offer, and then its beauty. I want to repeat that and work with you in Waikiki to make Waikiki even better. So I have a bunch of things. I was going to talk about things like the taxi issue, street performers, beach restoration, prostitution, homelessness, bathrooms, redevelopment. And I think that'll come up in the questions, right? So I'm going to leave that unless you guys, once we're POW, if there's anything that we haven't talked about, I'll mention. We can talk about that. Is that okay with you guys? Should I go 10 minutes?
No, I don't think so, but that's
okay,
good.
But that's good. Okay, so thanks. I appreciate it again. Thank you for sticking around to hear another politician speak tonight. I do appreciate that. Thank you and mahalo.
Thank you.